So this is the thing. When you are going through healing, you don't take joy out of the mix as if it's optional. Joy is actually the thing that is going to sustain you through your healing and the thing that you're navigating. Joy helps bring you back home to yourself, and it helps keep you grounded in a sense when you're navigating something really hard. My dad and I were having this conversation today because we just got back from Daddy-Daughter Day. I woke up early enough today to do all of my homework, honey, for the next 2 weeks because I told you guys I'm headed to Mexico in a couple days to celebrate my best friend of 25 years, her bachelorette party. So I woke up early enough to handle business, knowing that today was going to be me and my dad hanging out. And we went to a coffee shop and sat down. Very cute, by the way. Very like Aztec vibes, I think is the word. I don't know the word, but the theme of our conversation was navigating trauma, but keeping joy at the forefront. Joy is not a reward. You don't have to work to earn it. It is your right. But far too often, so many people literally remove the thing that brings them joy while they're trying to heal or get to the other side, not realizing a part of healing and getting to the other side is bringing joy along with you, still trying to do the things that bring you enjoyment, the things that bring you true joy, the small micro moments that keep you connected to yourself. Those are usually found in our joy. And crazy enough, ask me how I know this, is because almost 2 years ago in March, when I had my season of depression, when I moved back home to Michigan, when I relocated from Atlanta, drove 12 hours, packed my car up, it was me and Cardi, honey, and hit the road out of sheer obedience because God told me to. I went from my dream luxury apartment back to my childhood bedroom. You know how much of a setback that can feel like, especially as a 35-year-old woman? Like you work so hard to try to progress and make your life better for yourself. And when it feels like God is pulling you backwards, air quotes, when it feels like God is pulling you backwards or life is pulling you backwards, that can feel pretty low. Because I definitely had moments where I was like, I'm behind. What is happening, Lord? Like, why would you allow me to have this? And then now life feels like this. Like, what is this? What is happening? And I would be lying if I said I didn't have those moments. Those are some real moments and there's some real thoughts. But let me tell you what helped me bring me back to me. Those micro moments of joy. It was something about being back home in my hometown, not so much the nostalgia of my hometown, the things that I did while I was here as a younger girl, as a little girl, that I reconnected with, that started to like feel my heart. The smallest moments, the willow trees in the park, just blowing through the wind, like the grass, the playground that I grew up on, like just those small things that would bring me so much happiness. I'm a girl that loves nature. I love being outside, honey. My definition of outside is not like everybody else's outside. When I say I'm outside, baby, I'm outside, honey, sitting under the tree, my little toes touching the grass with a good book and my sparkling spindrift. Honey, that's my definition of outside. I'm somewhere on the swing. I am somewhere like literally being a kid. And I am so grateful that trauma never took that from me. I'm so grateful that depression never took that from me. I am so grateful that like life didn't take that from me, that inner child, that joy has, if anything, it's like it's gone deeper. It's gotten so much deeper. And my dad and I were talking about the difference between joy and happiness when we were drinking our coffee. Happiness is fleeting. Happiness comes and goes. You know, that little spark of a high if somebody gets you a gift that you've wanted, or I don't know, you hear you're getting a promotion or a raise. Like you are probably so ecstatic, but that ecstatic feeling doesn't last. That ecstatic feeling is like but a moment, you know? True joy true, deeply rooted joy, that is from the Lord. The Lord places that in us. That deep joy where you could just feel it and see it and like sense it on somebody. And it's like their laugh, their energy, it's just infectious. It just carries weight in the most beautiful way. It's magnetic. That is true joy. And it so happens to be one of the fruits of the Spirit. So how about that? But my dad and I were talking about that because, I mean, between the two of us, we've had just a lot of hardship. My dad has gone through such a battle in the past 15 years, and it was so beautiful for us to sit down and just have these moments. It's felt like the past 2 years has been catching up on 20 years. And I'll share more about that another time. But it's like God has allowed us to just make up for lost time with each other. And I was just encouraging him and having just honest conversation about what it means to still try to add joy into your days. you you don't have to work for joy. You don't have to hustle for it. You don't have to try to earn it. It's available to you. And something that my dad used to absolutely love. I mean, I think a lot of my ways come from him in the things that connects us that we have in common, because I did grow up outside. I grew up fishing. I grew up doing a lot of things that, if you will, typical Midwest people do. But I grew up curious as a curious child and very adventurous. So a lot of those things my dad held space for. And I just told him, like, I'm so grateful that you didn't like shun me. You didn't diminish my dreams. You didn't tell me I couldn't do something. You let me figure it out, and you gave me space to do that. And I realized as a almost 37-year-old woman, that really played a huge part in my development. And I didn't realize how much that development played a huge part in my recoveries from hard things, from hard situations, from, losing my son, from the breast cancer, from the heartbreaks, and I moved. I've lived in a couple different states, and I just didn't realize how much of his planted seeds sprouted in who I am today, and the way that he held space for me. My mom held space for me, in different ways, and even collectively in their parenting. So talking today about joy was just, it brings me joy. I feel like I exude joy. Like if joy was a poster, Renee gonna be on it. And I want you to be on it too. Because when you're going through something really dark and deep, please don't take away the things that add to who you are. And my dad's thing was fish. I grew up with a lot of fish. He loved fish. He had an 800-gallon aquarium. If you're a fishy person, you know how big that is. I mean, we grew up with all these aquariums built into the wall and around the wall, and just, everything, honey. We had fish. We had an alligator. We had a catfish. We had just piranhas, like everything as a child. Quite literally everything. And I noticed when my dad went through his relapse and the darkness came, the things that he loved slowly started to like fade away. He sold some of the fish tanks, and then one of the fish tanks unfortunately had froze, and just different things happened that they weren't replaced. And I talked to him about that because those things change us. Those things change us. When you don't have what makes you light up in your atmosphere, in your environment, when you don't take the initiative to change your room, even if you're temporarily living there, change the color, get a wallpaper, all of those things add to our creativity. They add to our healing. This is why your environment is so crucial and can be detrimental to your journey, wherever you're at on your journey. This is why no small thing should go unturned or unnoticed. You're worth the things that add to who you are. You're worth the things that add to your healing. Like when's the last time you allowed yourself to just like frolic and be free or run around? And maybe you're not maybe it's not like the connection with your childlike self yet, but maybe that's lacking too. When's the last time you just allowed yourself to be a big little kid? Go sledding. It's wintertime right now. When's the last time you just let yourself do something where you didn't have to worry about hitting a metric? It wasn't about productivity. It wasn't about being perfect. And maybe that's the part of your healing that you could be missing too. When's the last time you let yourself just walk barefoot on the ground? Like socks off, shoes off, because we did it as kids. We absolutely did it as kids. When's the last time you pulled up to your little mom and pop ice cream shop and got a cone? Like, all of those things add to who we are. And when I moved back home and I went through like a deep time, I mean, it wasn't all sunshine and roses the moment I moved home. I was sad. I cried almost every day. Honey, I would voice memo my girlfriends crying. Like, I need you to help me process what I'm feeling right now, because I felt like not only did I take a step back, but I knew I was being obedient to where God had called me to be. So I didn't doubt my yes, but what came with my yes felt like, oh my God, like another stone, like a snowball effect of stones in a sense, because I'm in my small hometown, which I had personally outgrew. It had not been a place that I lived in and I barely visited. Um, my normal reality was no longer the same. I didn't have the things that I used to have around me. I just felt out of place. I felt like so much changed. I didn't have my space anymore to myself. I didn't have, my view anymore. I couldn't look out and see like little skyscrapers. Now I look outside and, it was my neighbor's house or my other neighbor's house with overgrown trees. Like, a lot changed. And whether you want to say it's a glitz or glamour thing, it wasn't really about that. It was just about what created comfort for me, and the environment that I needed was now pulled away. And I'm navigating a new environment where it was a little more heavy on the survival mode side. And it felt like I was quite literally back in survival mode. It felt like I had gotten out or worked through that time of my life. But did I really? And sitting and having to be still exposed a lot about myself, a lot of work that still had to be done, a lot of discovery that still had to happen. And I didn't realize that until I was the one sitting in the chair in the middle, just with the light, the mirror back on myself. And I couldn't ignore, I couldn't hide, I couldn't cover the mirror. I had to face what I was seeing in the mirror, because my soul would not let me do anything other than that. I literally did not know what I was doing. The only thing I knew was that I worked a job, I had a job, and I knew what time I had to clock in for the job. I was still working from home, which is why I was able to make this move. And that's all I knew. That's quite literally all I did for a while. I didn't get back into the gym until about 2-3 months. I started at a new gym. I got with my trainer. I started small, very small. I think I had stopped journaling for a minute. I felt like I was just existing, because it's like I had hit a wall. But I realized a part of hitting that wall was because I didn't know myself. I didn't fully recognize myself and who I was trying to become after cancer, because we loved the glow up. We loved talking about reinventing, all of those little buzzwords that were being thrown around. We loved hearing about those things. And I did too. I feel very much into that. But guess what? I was reinventing off of false identity, because I still wasn't me. I was reinventing inauthentically because I still wasn't allowing myself to be seen, because I didn't know who I was. I actually had to sit with my identity issues. I had to sit with who am I becoming? Because it was a becoming season. And it wasn't just about who I was becoming after cancer. It was about getting back to who I was in general, that I had gotten so far away from. I gotten far away from that woman. I got disconnected with that woman. And then the cancer kind of, like glitched me a bit, if you will. And I had to sit with this. So when I didn't have all the fancy Atlanta restaurants distracting me, when I didn't have all the dates distracting me, when I didn't have all the girls' nights distracting me, when I didn't have the responsibility anymore of showing up for church and working the kids ministry, when I wasn't traveling anymore, when I didn't have all of the distractions that could easily mask and band-aid my pain, because yeah, a girl's trip for a weekend will make me feel better. It'll take my mind off of it. Yeah, it took my mind off of it, but it didn't heal it or fix it. So when I had to sit with unpacking the root of what was going on with me, that was the work. That's the work that I've been doing for the past 2 years since I've been back here in Michigan and left my life in Atlanta. Who I am today, I didn't even know I needed to be her. Who I've become right now, I didn't even know there was an opportunity. Who I'm striving to be, the focus, the vision today, wasn't even on the table 2 years ago. I wasn't in grad school then. It was like a mere thought. The change and the transition, the way that like joy helped me come back to myself in addition to the other things that I did to connect with my identity. It's like if you take a, it's like if you, I got a couple analogies. You take a plate and you accidentally drop it. It breaks and shatters into like 22 different pieces. Now you up here with glue, Gorilla Glue, trying to put it back together. And oh, this may go here. This may go here. Oh, I think this one goes here. Nope, that don't fit. Okay. Maybe it goes at the top here. Like that's what God has been doing with me the past 2 years, rebuilding me with joy at the center of this rebuild, reintroducing me to myself, reconnecting me with myself. I spend a lot less time now making errors. And hear me when I say that. Errors are going to come because I don't stray away from them. If I make a hiccup, I make a hiccup and I'm going to learn from it. But I'm saying I spend a lot less time being disconnected from myself now because I realize the moment, oh, this person isn't working or this situation isn't working or nope, that's actually not working for me. And oh, nope, that's out of the, like I spend a lot less time in spaces, in sacrificial places, in a non-abundant mindset. I spend less time in those moments now because I have grown an awareness of who I am, because I have grown and connected with my identity, because I know my authentic self now. This is why I can now turn a camera on and just talk to you straight up, because I've worked this muscle for almost 70 something days where I don't worry about perfectionism anymore. I'm not as focused on if I said the right thing. I'm not as focused on how I need to say something to accommodate everybody, but it doesn't accommodate me. I'm not as focused on those things. I can only focus on my truth, my journey, and my voice, and the power of my voice, because the power is my truth. And I'm not trying to talk about stuff I don't know. I'm not about to become a marriage counselor and I ain't never been married. That's just my stance on it. That's my stance. That's not for everybody. That's Renee's stance. Like, that's not actually the lane that I'm holding. But I can help you navigate this trauma though, because I know that far too well. And I'm not even sad to say it. It's been a part of the journey. It's been a part of my reality. So don't remove the joy is what I'm saying. Don't remove the things that add that smile to your face. Don't remove the moment. Don't ignore them. Document them if you can. The other day, I rolled the window down for 2 seconds and it was raining outside and I got a couple of raindrops on my face and I lit up. Why did that make me feel so good? Because I've always wanted to dance in the rain. I give myself more permission to do it when I got braids and like a quick weave than I do a silk press. I'm not going to hold you, okay? I will not hold you up there. But it's just like, it was just so careless and free. And it made me so happy. The other day, I opened up the door to let Cardi outside. We woke up at about 5:30 in the morning, I think. No, this was the evening. This was the evening, and the moon was shining so heavy, we didn't even have the porch light on. The light wasn't on. It was the moon. And I was like, oh my God, I could see everything clear as day. Before that, I walked outside and I could see the stars, and it just lit me up. I remember being a little girl camping out in our backyard so I could just be outside. Document the moments that add to who you are, that make you who you are, and that make your heart flutter. They flutter for a reason. They flutter for a reason. So even to my dad, I was like, okay, let's figure out what we need to figure out so we can get you some fishies. Get your fish tank up. He still has some fish tanks. And I'm like, Dad, you like this? And I was asking him, like, what is it about the fish tanks? Cause I never understood growing up. Like, I just knew that we had them and they were pretty, and it was what my dad liked, but he loves the sound of the water because it was how he would decompress after working 12 hours and come home, and he would just sit there and like look at them. And he said it just calmed him. And he grew up going to Canada because, Michigan, Canada's right here. He was telling me the stories about him and my late uncle that grew up going to Canada on the weekends. They would leave Friday right after school and come back Sunday real late. And my dad is Jerome is a cool guy. Okay. I gotta get him on here so y'all can meet my dad. And I was like, wow, that is so dope, Dad. That's so dope. Let's get you some fish. Let's get you some fish. So I'm excited to do that for my dad. And I've just been diving more into like my joy train and my joy bucket, and not letting that be the first thing that goes when life gets hard and tough. Not shutting down the things that can be a safe space and that can feel like recovery, that feels like healing, that feels restorative, that attaches me to myself, that is a part of my fabric and my makeup. Like, I'm not parting ways with the things that add to me in that way. And it's not a thing where it requires a bunch of people around me either, because sometimes when I'm going through my healing, I don't always need a lot of people around. I just need a few people that feel safe. When I'm going through my healing, it's not something I got to put on a platform to be announced. My life has been on a platform enough. I couldn't hide when my son passed away because everybody saw my belly for 8-9 months. I couldn't hide the breast cancer because girl, you got hair, you don't, and baby, I told you by the time 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock would come, I'd get into the car, take that wig off, baby, and be flying down Peachtree, honey, bald. Me and the little peach fuzzes, just bald, baby, bald like a cactus. I couldn't hide those things about me when I went through those hardships. So sometimes joy and healing is silent, but don't let joy be dismissive. Don't let it be dismissive. Don't let it be an option. Add it into your days and your moments. That cup of coffee that makes you smile, you look forward to it every morning. You go sit outside on the porch every morning. Keep pouring your cup of coffee. That drive around the city where you have nobody in the car, you're not distracted, and you can visualize everything that you're working towards. Don't let anybody take that from you. Keep driving. The small things, when you find your little spot at a park, that is your go-to tree for your journaling and your release and your frustrations and your cries to God, keep going to that tree. Taking random classes, pottery, painting, calligraphy, keep going. Whatever those things are that add joy to you, do not let it be diminished. Do not look over it. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, today was a good day. We had a really good time. That's all I got, y'all. The sun's going down and I'm about to go home and relax. But if you're new here, my name is Renee. I create conversations that give you permission, that bring you home to yourself and connect with yourself so we can be self-loyal and stop self-abandoning. All right, y'all. Until the next video, tell me in the comments, what is your joy? What brings you joy? What are you going to do this week to exude joy? How are you embracing it? I definitely want to know. Until the next video, peace out.